Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, tonight we're going to talk about Giuliani's report. Imagine that. I want you to imagine something else, too. I'll tell you a story. There's a cop, and he's convinced, absolutely convinced, that this other guy is dealing in stolen property. Convinced. Can't prove it, can't catch him. But he's convinced of it. So he starts keeping an eye on him. To be honest, it kind of turns into an obsession for him. Eventually, he's looking around the guy's house, peeking in the windows, seeing if he can see something that he can claim was in plain view. One day, while he's doing this, the apartment manager is out there with one of those chainsaws on the end of a pole, trimming trees. He's trimming trees, and that chainsaw falls, pops off the pole, falls, comes down, takes it off. Cop walks up to him and says, "I got a tourniquet and a phone, but I need your master key, though." Of course, the guy gives it to him, and then cop goes in the house, and sure enough, there's stolen property there. What happens next? Cop goes to jail. That's what happens next. The cop goes to jail. Now, because the police are aware of the activity, the whole department is kind of keeping an eye on the guy, and eventually they get the evidence and they arrest him too. That's how this works. They hold two separate trials. Wouldn't make sense to do it any other way. Let's go back to Giuliani's report for a second. I want to start off by saying I want to see it. I want to see what he turned up. I'm not going to lie. I'm curious. I have said that when I looked into it, couldn't find anything illegal. But I thought it was shady. I am open to the idea that the Bidens broke the law. And I have no loyalty to the Bidens. Biden is not my man. I don't care. So I want to see it. But it does not absolve the administration of any of their alleged crimes, even if they were right. It's not how this works. It's not how this works. And it doesn't make any sense to bring it up during the president's impeachment. I mean, that's the part I really don't get. Because if this is real evidence, well, then we should see arrests. And that evidence would kind of be held quiet and close hold. You wouldn't want to tell them right up front so they could, develop a good defense. You certainly wouldn't want to show it in a different trial. Unless, of course, the whole intention is not to hold the Bidens responsible, but is to muddy the waters, and the evidence is superficial and wouldn't really hold up to any scrutiny. That's another option. But I do want to see it after the impeachment. Because the truth of the matter is, if Biden abused his office for personal gain, he should go down. And if you believe that, you have to believe the same is true for Trump. And if you believe it for Trump, you have to believe it for Biden. It's the way that works. Either what we believe is good and true, or we don't have any order. We don't have any laws. We don't have anything. We just have corruption at the top, if they're not going to be held accountable. So I do want to see it during the Biden's trial, not during the president's. And the fact that the administration seems to have convinced their base that this type of abuse of power is worth this kind of crazy investigation only shows that if that abuse of power occurs, the people have to hold their leaders accountable. If they turned up something on Biden, he should be held accountable. But it does not absolve the president of the alleged soliciting the assistance of foreign nationals, the abuse of power, obstruction of justice. None of it. It doesn't change what the president did just because he was right. Anyway, I would suggest that if Biden is guilty, it's just all the more important to hold Biden and Trump accountable. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.